We've been hearing about niobium for a while now and how it could change the course of our country. But the truth is that few people really know what niobium is and what it's used for. Since there's a lot of fake news about this topic nowadays, I'm here to tell you what they haven't told you about niobium, said Difusim. Hey, engineering lovers! My name is Igor Felipe, and I'm sure you've already heard the term niobium out there. But the truth is that a lot of people recognize the name but have no idea what it is or what it's used for. And even worse, since niobium has been mentioned a lot in the media, this brings somewhat distorted information and the famous fake news. So we thought it would be cool to bring reliable information straight from the source. So today I'm going to tell you what they haven't told you about niobium, in partnership with Companhia Brasileira de Metalurgia e Mineração. And for those of you who don't know, Companhia Brasileira de Metalurgia e Mineração is the world leader in the production and development of niobium technology, and it's a Brazilian company located in the city of Araxá in Minas Gerais. Let's get to it. What is niobium? Niobium is a transition metal represented by the symbol Nb and atomic number 41 on the periodic table. It was discovered in 1801 by the English chemist Charles Hatchett when he was analyzing samples, and at first it was called columbium. The funny thing is that in 1846 it was rediscovered by another German chemist named Heinrich Hose and was named niobium. Thinking it was a new element, later it was discovered that columbium and niobium were actually the same element. And in 1949, niobium was officially recognized as a transition metal. But what do you mean it's a transition metal? Yes, niobium is a metal produced from ores that are found in the soil or in rocks. And this process isn't as simple as digging a hole and finding niobium. Some metals like copper and gold can be found in their pure form in nature. Others like niobium and aluminum need to go through chemical and metallurgical processes to be turned into final products. To produce niobium, ores like columbite, tantalite, loperite, and pyrochlore are used, with the latter being the most common here in Brazil. And for those of you who don't know, this is pyrochlore, the ore used for the production of niobium by Companhia Brasileira de Metalurgia e Mineração, which looks like ordinary soil that we see around. To better understand, here we have the chemical formula of pyrochlore. And as we can see, within the composition of this mineral, we have niobium itself, represented by the symbol Nb-Bus. Now, when we talk about metals, more specifically transition metals, they represent a group in the periodic table that have certain characteristics. These transition metals are known for being innovative, elements with a very high density and a high melting point. In other words, they melt at a very high temperature. Niobium is part of this group of transition metals, along with other well-known elements such as tungsten, which is used in the heating elements of electric showers. But okay, up until now, we have extracted pyrochlore from the ground, processed this ore, and obtained niobium through a simple process. Right? If only it were that simple. To obtain the final niobium products that are sold to various sectors of the industry, more than 160 steps are required involving metallurgical and chemical processes that require a lot of technology. At the end of this whole process, we are able to obtain the final products, with ferroniobium being a metallic alloy found in car bodies, bridges, overpasses, pipelines, and ships. We also have niobium oxide, which is used in the manufacture of telescopes, security camera lenses, and electric vehicle batteries. Vacuum-grade alloys are used in the production of rocket and airplane engines. And metallic niobium, a product with more than 98% niobium concentration, is used in magnetic resonance imaging machines, computed tomography scanners, and particle accelerators. Here in Brazil, there is a lot of research and technology development for the production and search for new applications for niobium. And that's why many people believe that niobium is rare and that it only exists here in Brazil, but that's just another piece of misinformation. Niobium is not a rare element. Besides Brazil, there are more than 85 ore deposits that can be turned into niobium across all continents. This confusion happens because currently Brazil is the world's largest producer of niobium, which doesn't mean that all the niobium on the planet is concentrated here. What puts Brazil in the spotlight is that we have more knowledge in developing technologies using niobium, thanks to many years of research. But then some people say that we don't gain anything from niobium and that it's sold for next to nothing to the major powers. Think about it with me. If I have a private company that develops a product, I want to make a profit from that product. And if I sell it for next to nothing, I'll end up going bankrupt. Like any private company you can think of, it will produce, develop, and create new technologies to sell a product at a price that makes the whole process viable, generates profit, and still maintains competitiveness in the market. But if you want to get an idea of the value of niobium on the international market, a ton of one of niobium's products. Ferroniobium is priced about 10 times higher than aluminum and about 20 times higher than the same amount of steel. The value of ferroniobium today is in the range of $36,000 to $40,000 per ton. And this value is set by the market in a balance between the famous law of supply and demand. And some of the special niobium products have an even higher price, reaching up to $100,000 per ton. But what is so good about niobium and where can I actually use it? Niobium is a very versatile metal, ductile and highly resistant to corrosion. And as I already mentioned, it has a high melting point and is also an excellent superconductor. For example, in gas pipeline tubing, niobium iron is used to produce metal alloys to increase their mechanical strength. Even small amounts of niobium, around 0.01%, can increase the strength of steel by up to 25%. In other words, with a small percentage of niobium, you get a big difference. Another example of its use is in mobility. It helps vehicles reduce the weight of the chassis, increases their structural strength, and consequently their safety. And we can see this in a utility task vehicle called XONB, a partnership made between Giafone Racing, which is a Brazilian company specialized in the production of racing cars and engines, and Companhia Brasileira de Metalurgia e Mineração itself. It used a microalloyed steel with niobium in its structure. With this use, they managed to increase the strength of the structure and even reduce its weight by 10% compared to their competitors. In addition, it brought gains in operational costs, resulting in fuel savings and a longer lifespan for the components. But I think what everyone has been talking about lately, and we even made a video about it in the past, is the famous battery with niobium. And here I want to clarify a point where there are a lot of doubts and in fact, you see a lot of disagreement on some news websites. In 2018, Companhia Brasileira de Metalurgia e Mineração and Toshiba formed a partnership to develop lithium batteries, but with mixed anodes of niobium and titanium. Now think with me. We hear a lot about electric cars in all the media. And the problem we see with electric cars is the charging time and battery life and even their lifespan. So the research on the niobium battery ended up focusing exactly on this demand and market interest. In the end, this partnership resulted in a battery with ultra-fast charging, greater durability, increased lifespan, and safety. And just to give you an idea, these batteries in a mid-sized car can guarantee, with a full charge in 10 minutes, a range of 350 kilometers. Recently, Companhia Brasileira de Metalurgia e Mineração announced a new partnership with Volkswagen trucks and buses, precisely to put these batteries to the test in electric buses. These tests will be carried out this year at the Volkswagen factory in Resende, in Rio de Janeiro, and later at Companhia Brasileira de Metalurgia e Mineração itself in the city of Araxá. And if you want us to closely follow these tests, leave a comment below. And the truth is that niobium has been suffering from fake news on the internet. And our intention here is to demystify niobium. Most importantly, to deliver reliable content without interference, simply and clearly. Now, if you want to know more about niobium, there is a website called niobium.tech, with reliable sources that talk more about niobium and its uses. And I'll leave a link in the video description. Like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. That's all, friends. Big hug. See you next video.